Testing. Testing. All right, let's check this.
Hello again. We have hello again.
Hello? Um, all right, let's continue learning Unity. I want to do 2 sections today, even though I might only be able to do 1. But let's just hacking go, bro.
We have many different platforms available in the market, and it is very interesting to be able to. Hello again. We have many different platforms available in the market, and it is very interesting to be able to deploy our game or application to all of them. Unity is going to help us. One of the most important features of Unity is the high number of platforms we can deploy to. So we can develop for desktop, Windows, Mac, and Linux. We can develop for the most important consoles, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and so on. Of course, we can develop for mobile devices, and even we can develop for WebGL. We can develop for the web. We can also develop for specific virtual and augmented reality devices, and many more platforms.
Sorry, just
the advantage of Unity is that keeps most.
Just trying to keep my mic at like in the same spot every stream. You get it.
Of their characteristics independent of the platform. Elements related with game controls, for example, the input, are generally the most important to take into account and may be very different depending on the platform. The idea is one project, many final platforms. This is the objective of Unity. Other elements that can be different among platforms can be the rendering features and the performance, the final performance, the aspect ratio and final resolution. In the Unity editor, we have an option in the menu. It is called Build Settings. There, we can specify the final platform in which we want to deploy our game or application. In this dialog box, we can select a platform and we can click on Switch Platform, and there's going to be a conversion, okay, of all the elements, the assets we are using in our project to the final platform. In the next button we have Player Settings. We can see in the inspector the specific options of the platform we have selected, we can select in order to better control how we want to export our application into this specific platform. So if we go to Player Settings, there we can, depending on the selecting platform, to specify different possibilities. For example, resolution, the icon of the application or game, the splash screen, only available in the Pro edition of Unity, the texture completion method, bundles, API levels, etc. So again, Unity allows us to deploy to a large collection of different platforms, thanks to its advanced tools, and taking always into account the different specific elements of each final platform.
Sick. Alrighty, I don't know how big this module is going to be, since, yeah, this is weird. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
Hello. When deploying our application or game to a specific platform, it is important to take into account what we call the aspect ratio, the quotient between the width and the height of our screen.
Okay, I don't know
Aspect
if I
ratio
need to watch this one.
is one of the most important features we have to consider when developing for a specific device or platform. The aspect ratio is the
I'll give
proportion
it a
between
listen
the
anyway.
width and the height of the screen. So we can have proportions such as 1:1, 2:1, 4:3, 3:2, 16:9, 16:10, etc. Even in the same platform, the aspect ratio can be very different depending on the final device. Android is a very good example of it. The programmer can check out this aspect ratio in execution, consulting the variables screen width, screen height. The aspect ratio is the quotient between these two variables. We can simulate a particular aspect ratio in the game view inside Unity Editor, allowing us to check out our application or game with different screens configuration. This is very useful. So we can know what is going to happen with our application or game with different aspect ratios. We can do that in the game view inside the Unity Editor. If we have selected a final platform using the option Switch Platform in Build Settings, this list of aspect ratios we can see in the game view will be the most important ones of the selected platform, although we can add any new aspect ratio to this list. So it is, of course, a very good practice to check them all and see how our application or game looks like in a specific aspect ratio. This is something almost compulsory. So, when developing in Unity, don't forget that you can preview in the game view how your application or game will look like in different aspect ratios.
All right, cool. Oh, baby. Okay, let's open up that Unity. Okay, bang. Cool.
We saw in a previous video, we have in the game view the possibility of checking out different aspect ratios. Remember that the aspect ratio is the quotient between the width and the height of the screen. So to be able to check this out here in the Unity editor is going to be very helpful, because we have the possibility to see what is going to happen with different aspect ratios without having to deploy the application to the final platform and to check out the application into different devices. So we can, for example, check out 4:3. This is very common for iPads. We can check out 3:2. We can have something very landscape such as 16:9. So this is going to be very useful, okay? And it is very normal before deploying the application to a final platform to come here to the game view and to check out different possibilities. Of course, we can add new possibilities here, and even it is possible, as we are going to see, if we go to the build settings, it is possible to switch to a specific platform. Remember, this is by selecting, in this case, for example, Android, and clicking switch platform. So it is possible to switch to a specific platform, as I'm doing right now. So after that, you're going to see that I'm going to be able to see different aspect ratios that are very common to this platform, in this case, the Android platform. Very common specific platform. We are going to see, if we go to the build settings, it is possible to switch to a specific platform. Remember, this is by selecting, in this case, for example, Android, and clicking switch platform. So it is possible to switch to a specific platform, as I'm doing right now. So after that, you're going to see that I'm going to be able to see different aspect ratios that are very common to this platform, in this case, the Android platform. So this normally takes a while, okay? So now we have the Android platform selected. If we come here, okay, as you can see, now we have a very long list of different aspect ratios, in this case, taking into account the Android platform, okay? So again, you can here check out aspect ratios and also, as you can see, very specific resolutions, okay? For example, okay, portrait or landscape resolutions, okay? So this is going to be very useful because this is a collection of very common aspect ratios and resolutions in the final platform, in this case, the Android platform. Anyway, with the plus, we can add any new aspect ratio in case that we want to check out a very specific platform, okay? So remember, before deploying the final application into a specific platform, go to the game view and, of course, check out different aspect ratios.
Cool. Okay, This is gonna be a really short section, I'm guessing, right?
Hello. One project, many different platforms. This is something very interesting, and Unity has tools that help us. Conditional compilation is one of them. The conditional compilation can help the developer to adapt the application to different platforms without having to fork the original project into different versions. This is very useful when using platform-specific plugins or different input methods, for example. We can check out some directives for platform detection with some conditional compilation statements such as if, elif, else, etc. Some of these available directives are Unity Editor, if we are running the application in the editor, Unity iPhone, if we are running the application in the iPhone platform, Unity Android, etc. But you can find a complete list of the different directives we have in this link.
Wow.
So this is an example. In this example, only one instruction is going to be compiled and finally executed depending on the platform. The platform we can specify, remember, in the build settings option. So in our code, for example, we can have different input methods, gamepad or a touch screen. If we use conditional compilation, the right piece of code is the one is going to be considered when compiling the project to a specific final platform. So conditional compilation can help you a lot when you want to have only one project, but to be able to deploy it to different platforms, something that it is really very interesting.
Okay, he says interesting so much that it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Oh, and now he has a different shirt on.
Desktop and consoles are the most powerful platforms. Of course, Unity allows us to deploy our game or app to these platforms, making the most of their hardware. In Mac, Windows, and Linux, Unity allows us to reach its most advanced possibilities thanks to have the best available hardware. In these platforms, we have some very specific input methods, such as keyboard and mouse. We work with this input in a very easy way in Unity. For example, we have input mouse position, input get mouse button. For the keyboard, we have input get key, input get key down, input get key up, etc. It's very easy to work in Unity in order to get these inputs. Aspect ratio and final resolution can be very different depending on the hardware and even the player's selection. So it's important to remember we can evaluate different aspect ratios and resolutions in the game view of the Unity editor. Unity is, of course, able to deploy to the main consoles of the market. Often, it is required special licenses from the owner of the platform. Generally, the first step is to become a certified developer of this final platform, of the console. So it's necessary to contact manufacturers to get access to the Unity console deployment builds. More information here about multi-platform support and all available platforms and devices, including VR and AR, in this link. So remember, if you want to use the most powerful tools Unity offers and the most advanced graphic pipelines, you must target desktop and consoles. Unity will help you to make the most of these powerful platforms.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just very tired, as you can probably tell. Okay. Whoa. What is this? Okay, I guess we're just watching a lot of videos.
Are a huge market for games and interactive apps.
And reading a lot of
the
things.
Different platforms and characteristics in their hardware, screens, and performance make game development really challenging on these platforms. Fortunately, Unity has very powerful tools for this kind of devices. Mobile devices are a fundamental target for Unity. Mobile devices have very special features, quite different to other platforms. For example, they don't have buttons, and keyboard should be only used for introducing some text when required. However, they have accelerometers and gyroscopes, device orientation of movement, magnetometer, the digital compass, GPS, and other sensors, for example, light proximity sensors. These sensors can be very interesting when developing games and interactive apps. Their screens allow several touches with our fingers, allowing actions and gestures that can be fantastic when controlling our characters. Unity, of course, allows us to make the most of all these possibilities. Sometimes it can be very time-consuming to compile and deploy your application to the device every time you want to try something. To avoid that, it is possible to use a specific app for our mobile devices, the Unity Remote, that allows us to connect our mobile device to the computer using a USB cable. After that, every interaction we carry out with our mobile, touches, accelerometer changes, the camera activation, is going to be sent to the Unity editor. And everything without having to build and deploy to the final device. So it's perfect in order to check out your application. We need to install the latest versions of the Unity Remote in our device, Android or iOS, and use, of course, a USB cable. In Android, we need to have the Android Software Development Kit installed and its path correctly specified in the Unity preferences. Depending on the device, some extra drivers can be necessary. In some devices, these tools doesn't work very well, so sometimes it is necessary to build and deploy. More information about Unity Remote can be found in this link. Unity Remote works when we click Run in the editor, and then all the actions we carry out on the device will be sent to the editor, so we will be able to evaluate the results in our game or application. All the inputs, touches on the screen, accelerometers, gyroscopes, camera, magnetometers, GPS are going to be sent to the editor. It's necessary in the editor to select in the menu Edit, Project Settings, Editor, the device we want to use, and it has to be, of course, connected with an USB cable. Once our device is connected and having Unity Remote running, we will see also a video streaming of the game in action on the device. Any interaction we carry out on the device will be resent to the Unity editor, so we will be able to control our game in the game view. So here you have an example on how Unity Remote is working. So
That's an old as heck phone, bro.
a huge market where it is possible to develop from casual games to AAA fantastic products. Unity has the tools to help us in our objectives.
Okay, bro, I'm using it already. I get it. Unity is great. Whoa. So you don't have to keep telling me that it's great. I'm not doing this right now. Okay. It's highly recommended that when installing Unity, you add an Android platform. And also, okay. Bro, what the heck? This is not, I can barely, like, I don't know what he's saying here, but whatever. In Windows, it may be necessary to install drivers from the device manufacturer. Okay. It is also important to activate the USB debugging option. Sure. I don't need to know this right now. But alright. Cool. Wow, setting up iOS. Okay. With movement of the mobile device, its accelerometer reports changes in linear acceleration through its three primary axes. We can use this information to detect the orientation of the device. Acceleration along an axis is returned in units G. The value of 1 represents a load of 1 gravity on that axis. Bruh. Loggers. Okay. A value of 1 represents a load of 1 gravity. The axes of the accelerometers are aligned with the game view. So you have to look at the orientation we define in player settings. Okay. If we have selected portrait, holding the device in its original vertical position. Okay, and that's not grammatically correct either, but alright, sure. Using input dot acceleration, we can carry out the reading of the 3 axes. We can also use input dot device orientation to return a discrete assessment of the device orientation, specifically an enumeration of the device orientation type. Face down, face up, landscape left, landscape right, portrait, portrait upside down, unknown. Unknown? Alright, I'm pretty sure he meant unknown, but alright. Okay, I don't need to do this right now.
Okay, let's change our example. The objective
But,
is to be able
alright.
to move our sphere using the accelerometers of our mobile. So we are going to try to make a kind of mobile version of our example.
I'm really not planning to make mobile games, so
In a mobile device, we have
yeah,
to
I
make a
don't
decision.
really need to know this.
One possibility is the one I'm going to show you, to use the accelerometers of our device. In order to do that, it is very important that you have to, of course, have the project prepared for a mobile platform. In my case, what I have done in build settings, as you can see, I have selected the Android platform. Remember that this means that when you install Unity, you have to select Android. You have to also install, by default, the software development kit from Android, okay? And in this case, we have to select here in build settings, Android, and you have to, in switch platform, to change the platform to Android, okay? If you want to deploy the application to the final device, you have to go to player settings, okay? And in the case of Android, the only thing you have to change is in other settings. The minimum thing you have to change is what you have here, the package name, okay? So by default, you have a bundle. This is the unique identifier your application is going to have. So by default, you have company product name. You have to put something here, okay? Such as, for example, Edu UPV Jordi test or something like that. Just with this change, you must be able, if you have your Android device prepared and your Android device is in debug mode, okay, and you have, of course, a USB cable, you must be able to build and run or just build and generate the APK, okay? You know this only, okay? Landscape layer. If you select auto rotation, you can select exactly what possibilities you allow in your application or game.
I really don't need to know this, so
this is something also.
I'm just gonna skip this.
Okay, in the next video we are going to do something called the character using the accelerometer.
Whoa.
Okay, in the next video we are going to do something extra.
Crazy.
We're going to try to make our sphere to jump if we touch the screen of our device.
Yeah, I don't need to know this, so
Okay, let's add an code in Unity.
alright. Great. No, I don't care. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get to the 5th section. Nice. We actually might be able to finish the whole course today? Question mark? Maybe not, but I'm gonna try. Even though I'm really, really tired. Okay, the programming language we're using in this course is C#. C# is a standard language. C# is a standard language easy to learn if you have previous knowledge of Java or C++. I'm loving the punctuation. I'm loving the punctuation. Okay, but whatever. In this introductory course, it is not necessary to master this programming language, but it is a fundamental element for those who want to become experts in Unity, since the mastery of the language can allow us to do more and better things in our scripts. Again, it is not necessary to know in-depth C# to follow the course. Okay, whatever. It's some basic notions, blah, blah, blah. Complementary material. Students interested in this language can learn more about their characteristics in the following PDF. Wow. Sure, I'll save this, I guess. That's fine. Wait, what are the 7 tabs? Oh, never mind. Okay. Invited to read the complimentary information. Great, and there are a bunch of courses online. True. Didn't mean to do that. Now this,
Whenever we want
I'm gonna have to
change
rewatch probably a bunch of times, like later.
the behavior of an object, we need a script. The script will control what is going to happen to the object, and we will do it creating C# scripts with some specific methods. This is a Unity template script. This is what it is created when we create a new script. In Unity Engine, we have the monoBehavior class, basic when defining scripts that will be assigned to game objects or prefabs. In System Collections, this belongs to the .NET platform and allows us to define lists, dynamic arrays, dictionaries, and so on. When developing interactive applications or games in Unity, not all the C# features are suitable. Sometimes because performance problems or integration problems with the editor, some particularities when deriving from monoBehavior, some features not still available in Unity. However, most of the main features of the language are available in Unity, and even the most advanced ones can be very useful in many contexts. For example, delegates and events, lambda expressions, LINQ, extension methods.
Not all C# features are suitable. Alright. Oh, monoBehavior class. Okay, sure. Most of the features are available. Even the most advanced ones can be useful in many contexts. The delegates and events, lambda expressions. Delegates and events, lambda expressions, LINQ extension methods. Alright,
In any
sure.
case, we have to be careful
I really
with
don't.
what we put inside in methods such as update, fix update.
I really don't know, like, what he's talking, what this means, really. But, I will figure it out later. Am I familiar with C#? No, I'm familiar with Java, but, I'm learning, obviously. I'm learning kind of both. I mean, I've done an introductory course to Java, so I'll just figure it out later. Obviously. I mean, I know that these are methods. The ones with the parentheses. And what does it do? Oh, okay, so how did you end up watching this particular video? This is part of a course. It's not a, like it's part of a course on edX, not like you can't just find it on YouTube. So I'm just gonna go through this course and then I'll probably move on to other Unity tutorials and I'll just start building my knowledge base from there. I'll just start building my knowledge base from there. That's the correct inflection.
Late update, since they are executed very, very frequently. So we can have performance problems and get a low frame rate. So our code has to be very optimized inside these methods. Scripts in Unity derive from the monoBehavior class. It is important to take into account that the script is a component of the game object, and therefore, if we use in the script the keyword this, in this context makes reference to the script and not to the game object.
Oh, all right.
We can assign, this is interesting.
What's the course called? It's called Introduction to Game Development with Unity. Let me look. Yeah, there you go. There you go. And unfortunately, English is not this guy's first language, so.
As many scripts.
He doesn't speak with correct grammar all the time, but hey, what can you do?
As we want to a game object, not only one. The most important methods we can define inside the script are awake, start, the updates methods, the methods related with collisions and triggers, methods such as onBecameVisible, onBecameInvisible, onMouseDown, onMouseOver, onEnable, onDisable. There are many. Okay. Awake, a very important method where we can put very important code inside.
Okay.
The awake is the first method that it is executed when the object is initialized. It must be used instead of traditional constructors. So constructors are not a good idea when we create scripts in Unity. It is always executed before any start of any object. It is perfect for initializing close reference amongst objects. So this is going to be very important. The start method. The method start is a second initialization step after all awakes of all the objects, and all the start methods will be executed before any update method of any object. Using awake and start, we can initialize our objects in 2 steps. So awake and start are a 2-step process to initialize objects. If, for example, the initial position of an object depends on the position of others, we can initialize first the objects that don't depend on others in the awake method. And in the start method, we can initialize those that depends on the position or properties of the other object. Start is going to be called only if the object is active, enabled. There's a specific checkbox in the inspector in order to activate it. One of the main objectives of a script is to update somehow the game object to which it is assigned in real time. These changes or updates are generally a change in the game object position, scale, rotation, or applying new forces, or changing colors, or changing a state. In order to carry out these actions, these tasks, Unity gives us several alternatives. We have update, we have fixed update, and we have late update. The update method. Update is the most common one, and its main characteristic is that it is called every frame. Every time the screen is going to be generated again. It is really important that the code we put inside update must be very efficient, since the frames per second will be affected. Okay.
He says okay
perfect
a
also
lot
for
as
managing
well.
the interaction with the user. It's a perfect place for that. Okay, not to use the object input. It will be only executed if the object is active, enabled. Fixed update. Fixed update will be called on regular basis, and all the physics updates, what we call physics engine steps, when the physics engine is working, will be carried out after the fixed update. Therefore, it is perfect. It's the perfect place for everything related with changes in the rigid body and constant forces. Fixed update can be invoked more or less frequently than the update, since the update is executed on a variable rate, while the fixed update is going to be executed on a constant frequency. Finally, we have late update. The late update will be invoked when all the updates of all the objects have been executed. So it's a second opportunity in order to update the position, the rotation, or the properties of the object in every frame. So it is a new opportunity to update the position of the objects after they have carried out their changes in their updates. As the update, it is executed in every frame, and it is used when, for example, an object must follow another one. When the main object moves in its update, the object that follows can do that in the late update. As late updates are executed when all updates have been already executed, we are sure that the update of the main object has been executed before the object that pursues the first. In this way, we don't have to be worried about the order on which the updates are executed.
I don't really get that,
the
but
very basic things we need to know about scripts in Unity.
I'll get it later.
Now it's time to practice.
Time to practice. Let's hacking go, bro. Let's hacking go. Okay, we got another slideshow.
Collisions are very important in many games and interactive applications. Sometimes we need to carry out specific actions when these collisions take place. We are going to see here how. On collision enter, on collision stay, on collision exit. When a game object has a rigid body component, then it will be under the physics engine control. Rigid body 2D in the case of 2D games. In this way, this game object will properly react in front of collisions with other objects. Of course, if they have colliders. This is also compulsory. Quite often, it is interesting to receive a notification, an event, when this collision takes place, in order to carry out a specific action. For example, to play a sound. This could be one of the possibilities. A frequent case consists of reacting differently depending on what are we colliding with. It is not the same to collide against a wall or an enemy. The method on collision enter is invoked when a collision occurs, the very first moment. On collision stay, while the collision is still taking place, they are in contact. And on collision exit, when the collision finishes.
Convenient.
In 2D we have the same methods, but all with the 2D suffix.
In general, you don't control the order in which Unity calls update on your scripts. So for example, if you need to make decisions after some other thing is updated, but you still want your changes to apply for the current frame, you could use late update. If you need to make decisions after some other thing is updated. Alright. Okay, so it's okay. Because late update won't be called until everything has been updated. But it happens. But update happens once every frame. So you're telling me, but like late update happens after the frame? Or, I mean, it happens in the same frame. Update happens once every frame for every single component in the scene. Okay. Okay. And late update only happens... What? You don't generally know if your script's update has been called before or after another script's update during this time. Okay. So it's just... It has a use case, is what you're telling me. That's it. You're just saying it has a use case. But like the thing with frames is that like I'm kind of confused because if update happens every frame, then what does late update do? Does late update, is there like half a frame? Like you like update gives, or update is called every first half of the frame, and late update. Okay, wait, let me say that again because I might have said late update. So update is called every first half of the frame. They both happen every frame. He gave a use case. I'm trying to explain why it solves his use case. Yeah, it's just, you're just saying for something, you're just saying it ensures that something happens after something else. But if they happen at the same time, then I don't know how one would come after the other. That's what I'm confused about. You get what I'm saying, right? They don't happen at the same time. Okay. So is it like first half of frame, second half of frame? Is that what it is? None of this is multi-threaded. It's all on the main thread. Okay. You're saying they happen every frame, but they don't happen at the same time. Okay. So, like, here's the thing. The difference in time is so small that I don't really understand why you would ever use it. Unity goes through every single active and enabled script in your scene, and it calls update on them. Okay, true. Then after that is finished, and some intermediate steps, Unity then goes through and calls late update on every single active and enabled script in the scene. Alright. I'm just not, I just, I don't think I'm thinking small enough. But it seems like they happen at the same time. If you're running at 30 or 60 FPS and you're trying to follow some other object closely, it will be very obvious to users that it's off by frame. Okay, so they don't happen in the same frame then. It's either they do happen in the same frame or they don't. It's like that's what I'm confused about, but again, I don't really need to like super understand it right now, but thank you for explaining it to me. You're missing the important part. Okay. I mean, okay. I understand how it could possibly be used. You don't know what order Unity will call update on the scripts in the scene. So you can't assume that another script's update has run before yours. Alright. Fair enough. So like if I put I'm trying to think of a use case, but you do know that late update won't be called on anything until all updates have been called. Okay, so I'm thinking of a use case. A character goes into a room, right? And, okay, I mean, the torches would be there already. The torches would be there already. Okay, let's say you wanted to have your character spawn a torch, and then you wanted it to be lit directly after. I'm guessing you would call update on you know, you would have the activation update for your character, pressing the button or whatever. And then you'd have the torch appearing, and then directly after that you would want your torch to be lit. So you'd call the lighting part in late update, I'm guessing. Or is that like convoluted? You wouldn't need late update for that. Okay. How often is late update used? Let's say you had two spaceships in a multiplayer game that can dock to each other. Alright. And when they're docked to each other, they need to appear to be physically attached and move as one unit. Okay. I mean, I feel like I'll understand it better when it's in action. Like when I see it in action or when I need to use it, then I'll understand it better. And I have plenty of time to do that. And let's say that only one player gets to control them when they're docked. Alright? Again, this seems like a very convoluted use case, but when I see this, like when I see it in action, I will understand it better. Okay, so you want to update the second player's ship only after the first player's ship has handled input and changes direction. Okay, hold up. Let me read that again. So you want to update the second player's ship only after the first player's ship has handled input and changes direction. Oh. Okay. Got it. So it's like a dependency thing, kind of. You should play with a real example like a YouTube tutorial video that makes it step-by-step on something you're trying to do. True. I'll get to that point. I know it's going very slow for now, but I'm like already more than halfway done with this course, if it even can be called a course, because I'm like not learning a super huge amount. It's not as dense. Let's just say it's not as dense as like a YouTube video tutorial. But I will get to YouTube video tutorials eventually. Thank you for explaining it to me. I'm going to continue the video.
A very common action will be to figure out with which object has collided with, being frequent using for this what we call tags. We can create tags and assign them to objects in order to group them in families depending on their type, enemies, walls, etc. In this way, it is common to check out if the type of the object we are colliding with is the one that triggers a specific action. Some rules regarding collisions. If we want the object to be under the physics forces, it must have a rigid body, remember. Detecting collisions means to have a collider. It is also required if you want to detect the object using a raycast or methods such as on mouse down. No collider, you cannot use these possibilities. Colliders generally has a different, simpler geometry of the object. The geometry of the object is in the mesh filter. So the required calculations becomes also simpler, okay? Because complex geometries...
Hold up. Colliders generally have a different... Oh, yeah, okay, never mind.
We want to detect collisions with complex geometry, we are going to have performance problems. So it's quite common to have a collider with a geometry that it is much more simple. However, we
Yes,
can create
I know
convex
about
colliders
that already.
as the sum of different colliders, just by adding children with colliders to the game object. So the final collider is going to be the union of all the colliders. Now we know how to detect collisions. It will be with, of course, real examples when we will see its advantages.
All right, colliders. Let's get it. Also, thank you guys for watching as well. I greatly appreciate that, because obviously most of the time people don't watch me or something. You get it. You get it. I'm not a big streamer. So let's continue.
Let's add more functionality to our example. And in this case, what we are going to do is to carry out an action that it is very, very common. We want to detect whenever we are colliding with something. This is very common in many games, okay? Not just to detect the collision and to react properly, something that the physics engine does automatically, but also to detect this collision and try to execute something in front of this collision. This is what we are going to do now. In our case, in our sphere, remember that we have, of course, we have added the collider and we have also the rigid body, okay? The collider is going to be essential in order to detect, of course, collisions, okay? So what we are going to do is to go to the script move, and we are going to add here a method in order to detect if we, okay? The collider.
Okay, okay, let's see. Twitch is overrated. The average person doesn't get viewers, only the lucky ones or the grinders. I streamed for a year and nothing. True, Twitch. Well, I wouldn't say it's overrated to watch things on, because I mean it's a lot of the top streamers are like fairly entertaining. Okay, maybe not a lot of them. Maybe not a lot of them. Maybe not even most, but I think for entertainment, Twitch is all right. But yeah, it's pretty difficult to make it on Twitch. Correct. Overrated as in the idea of actually getting viewers as an average Joe. True. True. I mean, that's like the same. That's kind of the same with everything, though. Yeah, I mean, if you're an average Joe, you're not gonna get a bunch of views on anything that you make. You know, there's a reason not everyone is a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber or whatever, because not everyone gets that level of views. Okay, you get it. You get it. I agree with you. I agree.
Collider is going to be essential in order to detect, of course, collisions. Okay?
Unless you're saying that it's like overrated, as in people are like, oh my gosh, I'll just stream on Twitch and get big, and like a bunch of people say that, but in reality they won't. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, add more functionality, carry out an action. We want to detect whenever we are colliding with something. Okay. Not just to detect the collision and to react properly, something that the physics engine does automatically, but also to detect this collision and try to execute something in front of this collision. This is what we are going to do now. Okay.
So what we are going to do is to go to the script move, and we are going to add here a method in order to detect if we are colliding with something. Okay, this is the idea. So in order to do that, we have the methods on collision enter, on collision stay, and on collision exit. On collision enter is going to be executed the very first time we collide with something. On collision stay, while we are colliding with something. And on collision exit, whenever we stop the collision with something. So we can add it anywhere inside the class, in this case move. I'm going to put it here. So the method is called on collision
What?
Okay. So this is the method we have to create whenever we want to detect that we are colliding with something.
Wait, I'm so confused. Wait, you put this outside of an update? Really? Okay, that's like you put on collision and like you put the methods outside of updates? You don't check. The methods are defined inside of the class. Okay, but I'm saying like the methods are already defined, correct? So why would I not do like why would I not just like do fixed update? Like why would it not just be something like this? Where it's like if on collision it doesn't work. No, they're not already defined. You have to define them. Okay. So you're saying they're just declared? Like in some other method somewhere, they're just declared. And we have to define them. I mean, wouldn't it just be easier if you just checked every, I guess that would just make it lag, wouldn't it? Like if you did fixed update or you did just update, you just did one of these things, right? Like, I feel like this would make more sense. Like, make more logical sense. If you're like, if collide, I know this is not real code, then you do, I don't know, make noise. What is it? Audio source dot play. Sorry, play. And you do whatever that is. Except, obviously, I know this isn't real. This would make more sense to me. Not in another method, but it's. But people do that all the time in code. People put methods inside of methods all the time. Not in another method, inside your class that inherits from mono behavior. The physics system's tick rate is entirely unrelated to when update is called, so it wouldn't make sense to, sorry, shook the camera, to pull, no. There are a lot of reasons you don't pull manually. I don't really know what pull means. Like pull as in check? Is what you're saying? I'm not saying you can't define a method inside a method, but I am saying that would not work. Well, obviously I know it wouldn't work, but I'm just saying this would make more sense if you just checked every second. Or, I mean, unless that would cause a bunch of lag. Poll in this case means to ask every frame. Oh. Got it. Got it. So, on collision, enter. Let's get it. Yeah, I'm thinking if you had like a bunch of stuff in this update, like in this, yeah, in this update method, right? This is a method, correct? Then it would lag the game out hardcore, because instead of checking instead of checking whether or not it's colliding every frame, this is just checking whether or not it's colliding. It collides, period, right? It works by notifying you when something happens, so you don't have to do anything at all. When a collision event occurs, Unity just notifies whoever wants to know. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Think about how much you would have to manually write in your code if you wanted to pull manually. Pull manually? Okay. Yeah, I'm like not... Okay. I do not have the knowledge to understand everything you're saying all the time. But I'm just saying it would make sense to me if... Yeah, oh, what is it? If collide, and then you just do the action, you just do whatever action it does, right? And that's it. That's all you have to do. That's all you would have to do if, like, what I was thinking was true. You just put it in update. You just do one of these, but for collision, right? If collision with like something else in a group, right? That doesn't seem very difficult to me. That doesn't seem like a lot more code. I don't know, maybe... whatever. You can't just say if collide. You can be colliding with many things at once, and your collision handling code is going to want to know what it collided with and how. Okay. But you just can't say if collide. The physics system also handle all those same collisions, so that would double the work. And then all the other objects involved in those collisions would do the work again. Alright, I'm just gonna trust you. I'm just gonna trust you on this, because I'm not literate enough. It seems easy to me, but I'm gonna trust you when you say it's not that easy.
In this case, we are going to detect the very first moment we collide with something, okay? So we use onCollisionEnder, okay? The action we are going to carry out right now is going to be very simple. The only thing I'm going to do is just a print and collision. So we are going just to print that we are colliding with something.
What?
Okay? So we save the script, we go back to the Unity editor.
Okay, also print is in C#? What?
And we visualize the console, okay? We clear the console and we run.
Wait, I thought it was system. I thought it was this. What is it? It's like this or like some really weird crap. Whatever. Alright, I guess it's not. Print is a helper method that calls debug.log for you. It's not built into C#. Print is defined as a static method on mono behavior. Oh. Got it. So it's not in C#. It's not in C#. It's just in Unity.
The execution of our game, we have one collision. And of course, we are colliding with the plane. Okay? So this means that every...
You don't use those The general C# way to print to the console is console.write or console.write line. You don't use those in Unity. Okay, I seriously thought there was something else. I mean, it's not even worth my time to look this up, but whatever. Console.write line. Wow. Where did I see that before? If you fully qualify the name, it would be system.console.write line. Wow. Why did I see that somewhere? In Java, it's, yeah, correct. I did see that, but I also saw somewhere else. Like, okay. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I just need to finish this course. Gosh, hacking dang it, I'm wasting time.
Every time I jump, as you can see, every time I'm jumping, I'm going to detect the collision with the plane. And with the cubes, the same thing. Every time I'm colliding with a cube, I'm going to have a collision, okay? So it is going to be very common and very useful to be able to know exactly with what object I'm colliding with, okay? To try to see the exact object I'm colliding with. And in Unity, this can be done by checking out the name of the game object, but there's a much more flexible way. In Unity, we use what we call tags, okay? So tags are going to help us in order to group the different
In the context of Unity, print just calls debug.log for you. It's only there for convenience because it's less to type. Got it.
game objects of the scene into families, okay? And this is what we are going to do now. We are going to create a new tag, okay? This is very simple. We have to go just to layers, okay? And edit layers. And as you are going to see here, we have a section called tags, okay? So
Look at the amount of times this guy says okay. Look at the sheer amount of times this guy says okay. Like, gosh dang, bro. Gosh dang.
the only thing you have to do
Wild.
is create a new tag, okay? So in this new tag, we can use whatever name you want, okay? In this case, I'm going to have to in order to
Okay, let me...
useful to be able to know exactly with.
So if I just do this, I just do print. Okay. Print collision collide. Okay, it doesn't matter. And then I'm gonna do this. Okay, why did that do that? Whatever. Okay, why did it do a collision on start? That's kind of what I'm confused about. Okay, wait. Bam! Bam! Wait, can I set something's mass to 0? I'm guessing I probably can't, right? Bam. So if I set this to 0, okay, I have no drag, so if I set this to 0, Okay, that's what happens. Yup. That is to be expected. Because it doesn't... Got it. Nothing affects... Like, it's not affected by gravity or anything.
What object I'm colliding
If it's
with, okay,
math,
to try
mass is
to
0.
see the object, the exact object.
And
that
it
I'm
didn't
colliding
even
with.
hit
And in
0. It was 1 times 10 to the 7th, to the negative 7th or something.
This can be done to see the object, the exact object I'm colliding with. And in Unity, this can be done by checking out the name of the game object, but there's a much more flexible way.
It won't let you set it to 0. It sets it to its epsilon. Alright. Yeah. I'm... Okay. Sorry, I had my mic. But I'm not a computer scientist. I'm not a... I don't know, physicist or whatever. So, all these math terms, all these math and computer science terms you're whipping out, I do not know. I don't know what you mean when you say them.
In Unity, we use what we call tags, okay? So tags are going to help us in order to group the different game objects of the scene into families, okay? And this is what we are going to do now. We are going to create a new
Okay.
tag,
Okay. Epsilon just means a very small value. Okay.
Simple, we have to go just to layers, okay? And edit layers. And as you are going to see here, we have a section called tags, okay? So the only thing
Small but non-zero. But you're also saying that it's unique to each object.
create
right.
a new tag, okay? So in this new tag, we can use whatever name you want, okay? In this case, I'm going to use something such as, for example, enemy, okay? The only thing you have to do is to remember, okay? To remember the name of the tag, okay? This is the only thing you have to do, okay? The exact name. You can create a
He said
long list of
okay
tags,
within
okay?
the span of... He said okay 3 times within the span of 2 sentences.
And they are going to help you
Nice. It's not unique to the object. It's unique to Unity's implementation for rigid body. Got it.
to classify, as I'm telling, the different game objects of the scene into families, okay? So in this case, I'm going to use this tag in order to say that only the cubes are going to have this tag, okay? So I want to detect only the collision with the cubes, okay? This is the idea.
Doob.
So what I'm going to do is I have to assign to all the cubes this tag, okay? And remember, we are not going to get access to the different cubes. Remember that we have created these cubes from prefab. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to go to the
Got
prefab
it.
cube, okay? Do you remember? So by opening the prefab, here you have the properties of the prefab, and in the section tag.
Also,
there's
I
some
could just
quiet.
do
So the only
this,
thing you
right?
have to do is to put the tag enemy, okay?
Like,
So if I go back,
am I correct in thinking that clicking this... Like, clicking this arrow also goes to this thing here? I mean, it looks... They look exactly the same, so... I'm thinking they're the exact same.
I can check now that all the cubes, as you can see, they all have the enemy tag, okay? The tag enemy, okay?
Oh, poggers. Cube. Nuts.
So if I go back, I can check now that all the cubes, as you can see, they all have the enemy tag, okay? So this is very useful, okay? Remember that the prefabs are going to help us in order to
Oh, also, thank you, Paxian Studios. Thank you for the follow. I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for the follow.
change a property
Yesterday.
to all the instances we have created from the prefab, okay? So right now we can detect exactly what, well, we have created the tag enemy. We can detect now the collision, but now we have to add something in our script. Of course, we have to carry out this action, only when the object I'm colliding with has the tag enemy, okay? This is the idea. So collision, the input parameter, is going to give us information about the object I'm colliding with, okay? So basically by checking out collision, one of the thing that I can see is the game object, okay? What is the game object I'm colliding with? And one of the things we can do, of course, is to consult its tag. So the only thing I have to do is to compare it with enemy, okay? The tag we have created, okay? This is the idea. Okay, in C# we can use equal equal in order to compare strings, okay? Because in C# the equal equal, okay, is overloaded to the equal method, okay? So we don't have to use equals, the equals method. We can use equal equal, okay, in order to compare strings. So we can save this script, okay?
Really? That is not how it is in Java.
We can go back to
Good to know,
Unity.
though.
We are going now again to clear, okay, all the messages of the console, and now we are going to run again. Let's try to see what happens. As you can see, now I'm colliding with the plane, but now we don't have a message, okay? And the reason is because the plane has no enemy tag, okay? So now we should be able just to have collisions, as you can see, whenever I'm touching, okay, a cube, okay, as it is happening right now. We can carry out other kind of actions. For example, suggestion is let's try to destroy the cubes.
Also, but why is it collision.gameObject? Like, that's something I don't get. If collision, which is what? Oh, which is an object which is a collision object. Like, why is it collision? Okay, why is it not working now? Collision dot game object dot tag, and then what do I do? Is it tag? Oh, okay, no. I don't. It doesn't have the parameter, so equals cube. For me, it's cube. And if there's only, yeah, I mean, why is it collision? This, why is this collision? Like, does every, are you telling me every single game object has a collision object attached to it? Like, as an attribute or a component or whatever? No? Okay, I don't know what this, then what does this mean? Also, it's really weird because in Java you have to put curly brackets for an if statement, but in C#, if there's only one line, you know, if there's only one statement, like one line with a semicolon, you don't have to put curly brackets. That's kind of tripping me up a little bit. Why? They're also optional in Java, same rules. Oh, F? Everyone taught me the wrong thing then. Literally every single Java tutorial, they always do curly brackets. I guess I should just do the same thing for C# anyway, just because it's like it looks better. Like, what is this? What is this? Is what I'm asking. Like, it's more readable, I guess. So I should just put curly brackets anyway, even though people sometimes don't put them just because they're lazy or something. Collision object that you've been passed in this method is built by Unity when the collision happens, and it attaches a game object that the collider you collided with is attached to. Okay. It attaches the game object that the collider you collided with is attached to. It's personal preference. Put them if you like them, or think it's more readable. Don't use them if you don't like them. Oh wait, so you're telling me that I don't need to use curly brackets ever? Like if I choose not to use curly brackets ever, I don't ever need to use them? Also, you can do equals like equal to, it's whatever, double equals for string comparison in C# because C# has operator overloading and Java doesn't. Got it. You don't need to use curly brackets after an if or loop if the body is a single statement. Oh, so all right. Fair enough. Okay, but collision object is built in to Unity when the collision happens. It attaches the game object collision.gameObject is the game object that you collided with. Well, what? But game object is a variable. Wait, game object is an object inside of collision, though. That's what I'm confused about. Like, why is collision an object, and then game object is also an object? And then tag is just a variable inside the game object. Game object is a class. Okay, yeah, that's what I meant, class. Because objects are just instances of classes. Got it. Game object is a property. Oh, game object. Capital G game object is a class. Game object, lowercase g. Game object is a property on collision. Okay, but collision is an object. Okay. It doesn't matter, I'm guessing. Like, they call them languages for a reason, but like, I feel like programming is the only language that you need, or maybe not, maybe not. I didn't even finish my sentence. Collision is also a class. Okay, yes. Collision is an instance of a collision. Alright, yes. I understand that. But like, what is going on? I guess I'm like trying to get too technical with this. Because I could just be like, okay, collision.gameObject.tag ging ging, and then that's it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's what it is. I mean, you don't use collision.gameObject always go together. So, I don't really know why I'm like doing. I don't know why I'm going this deep, honestly. But what is it? Collision is an object. Every single component that you make will be attached to a game object. Correct. Yes. And because colliders are also components, they will also be attached to a game object. Okay, but you're talking about capital G game object, right? Like, I get it. The script is attached to a game object, an actual game object. So when two colliders interact, they will both be attached to game objects. But I'm saying, okay, you're not really like super understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying, I guess I'm asking, what I'm asking is collision, this collision, which is a it's named collision. It's an object. The collision is the object, and it's named collision. And then somewhere in this class here, there's, I don't know, what would game object even be? Game object would be whatever. You do like private game object, and then what is it? Game object equals like something crazy. It's something that I can't even imagine right now. And this is inside of the collision class, correct? Oh, it's public, but it's public. I forgot. It has to be public, obviously. Yeah, game object is a property that returns an instance of game object. Public game object, get private set. Okay, that's just some weird crap. But this collision is always used with this game object. Is that wrong? Like, this collision object, this instance here, is always used with this. I don't know what you mean by that. So you're saying, okay, I'm saying, I don't know. I can't. The collision is a parameter to your function. Okay, I'm getting way too I'm trying to get way too technical with this when I could just be like, it just works, right? I'm saying this is always going to be written with this. Like, it's always going to be written this way. It's always going to be written this way. Always. Right? This. Always. And then obviously this is always going to have something like a tag or a I don't know, material. No. When a UDD calls on collision enter, after collision happens, it will always pass in an instance of a collision. You're not being too technical. I think there's a gap in your understanding somewhere that I don't fully understand yet. Okay, I'm a complete beginner to Unity. Complete. Okay? And I have done an introduction to Java. Introduction. Okay? I understand that this is a named object. This is I don't know what the word for it would be. It's not a keyword. It's like a it defines that this is an object. This is an object saying that this is an object. This is like an object name saying that this is an object and it's a named object. This, okay, you're calling game object, which is a game object inside the collision class that you're making when you instance this, correct? And I'm saying this, like, are there other... you're never going to have collision just by itself, right? Like, if I do this, it's not toString. But if I do, like, collision... like, this is not going to fudging work. But I'm going to try it anyway. All instances of collision, this is going to break. I know this is going to break. Unity engine dot collision. That will work, but I'm saying I wanna... that's not what I wanted, but whatever. Wow, Unity engine dot collision. I'm guessing Unity engine is another class that collision is inside. That's what the toString... Unity engine is a namespace, not a class. Okay, whatever. This is too big brain for me. This is too big brain for me. I'm not this deep into the computer science yet. So I don't think I need to know. I don't think I really need to know everything right now. Let's just continue. Like, okay, I guess the question I'm asking, the only question I'm asking is, will collision be used not next to a game object? Like, will I use this in another case where it's not next to this? Like, will this ever not be written as this? There's no reason you have to call the game object property. What? What? Oh, okay. So you're telling me no. Got it. All right. Fair enough. I should I should probably just try and finish this section. Gosh dang. There's lots of other properties and methods you might use. Well, dagnabbit.
When we touch
All right.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is
Fair enough.
besides
Then that means the answer to my question is no. It won't always be next to it. Got it. Beautiful.
the collision, okay? What I'm going to do is to try to destroy the object I'm colliding with. And there's a method, it is called destroy, okay? That can be used for that.
Okay, easy enough.
Destroy, okay? So again, I'm colliding with collision game object, okay? So by doing this, theoretically speaking, we should be able to destroy, to remove from the scene the object I'm colliding with the tag enemy, okay? So again, I'm going
The reason he's going through the game object is because game object is what has the tag, and he wanted to detect the cube using the tag. No other reason. Fair enough. So basically you're telling me that if he had done name, or like instead of tag, he could have done name. Is name a thing? Oh, it is. Never mind. All right. Never mind.
I'm going back to Unity.
Understandable.
We clear the console if you want to see the collision messages, and then we run.
Okay, let's look. Let's
now,
check
if
it.
I touch an object,
Whoa!
we remove it. Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Okay,
Got
so
him.
we know how we can detect collisions and to carry out an action. whenever we are interested in doing something. And also we know something very useful, that it is to classify the game objects of our scene with tags.
Wow. What is it? It's just destroy?
Action, game object.
Destroy? That's useful. That is useful. I do have to say, destroy collision dot game object. Nice. I'm super epic. Now I'm going to kill a bunch of cubes. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. And then if I ahaha, and then I ahaha. Yes. Die. Ha ah 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 ah. Wow, I'm having so much fun already. You know, I feel like a freaking I feel like a toddler that just got a new like action figure. Where I'm just getting entertained by like the simplest things. I mean, I technically have made a very simple game here, and that's it.
Okay, so by doing this, theoretically,
Like,
with
I
tags,
technically have made a very simple game, but it's like super ultra simple. So, okay, and then I would just repeat. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm repeating so many things.
Sometimes we want to detect collisions, but we
It's
don't want
ready.
the physics engine to react.
It's ready for early access already. Yes! I knew it!
Sometimes we just want to know
I'll
we
be
are
a
touching
millionaire.
or we are going inside something, and that's all. We will use.
Wait, I wonder if anyone has made like a super... You should probably play in the Kickstarter. Yeah. But I wonder if someone has made like a super trolly video game like what you're saying, where they're like, "Oh hey guys, here's my game," and they put it out there as a joke. They're like, "Hey, you know, I need funding for like this super ambitious project," and then they show like, yeah, like seriously the dumbest game ever, like something super simple like what I'm saying, and they're just trolling. Like it's very clearly stated. Or they say super ambitious project in the Kickstarter title or the early access or whatever. And then they have a video of them of basically like this. Basically them playing this game. They're like, "Give me money, please." And then in the description they're like, "This is a troll." No. Okay. No, I'm not talking about Star Citizen. No, I mean like actually this. Like someone was like super ambitious game, and then in the description they're like, "This is a troll. Don't donate. Do not donate to this." And then people donate anyway because other people want to troll. Like the only reason people would donate is because they want to troll as well. But in reality, they're just giving this guy free money. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just stars. Okay. 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 No, I'd be like a, like, you know, you know what I mean. Look, and there goes my ball. Yeah, I don't know if Star Citizen deserves to be roasted that hard because this is so not comparable to Star Citizen that it's kind of crazy that you would even say that. Even though I haven't played Star Citizen, I've only seen like a little bit of gameplay. Also, if my mic is peaking, please tell me because I've seen it peak a few times. At least I think it has.
Use triggers for these objectives. On trigger enter, on trigger stay, on trigger exit. We can create a game object whose main objective is to contain a collider marked as its trigger, and even without measure renderer. So our character, or other game objects, can go inside it without the reaction from the physics engine, with no opposition, no bouncing back. So we want to detect the collision, but without any physics reaction, only because we want to do some specific actions in front of this collision. For example, we go inside a new area, and we want new enemies to appear. Or we want to open an automatic door when we are close to it. Or we want to detect if you have entered to a specific area in order, for example, to change the music. These triggers, these colliders with the isTrigger option on, trigger on the other object, the one going inside, events of the type onTrigger. OnTrigger enter when we are going inside, onTrigger stay when we are inside, and onTrigger exit when we leave the object. These triggers are perfect as activators for specific actions or for elements we want to collect. For example, stars, coins, etc. Another very interesting possibility.
Wow.
So again, with an example,
super interesting possibility. Super interesting possibility. So interesting, in fact, that I've never thought of it before. Okay, so I'm guessing this is what people do for like story games. They just have like a plane or a plane, I guess, an invisible plane, and then they just do on trigger enter and then when people touch the plane, like something happens in the story, I guess. They've been working on it since 2010. They've collected around $500 million, and they have like one planet, and they split the multiplayer game into a completely separate project. If that's not a troll, I don't know what is. Yeah, that does sound pretty, trolly, actually. What the heck? Yeah, that's how you typically detect when the player arrives at some point you're interested in. Nice. Alright. But is it like a fully modeled planet? Like a fully modeled to scale planet where like it just exploring the planet could be its own game? Or is it like a planet that's like mostly trees or something? Mostly trees with like a few cities. Because I'm not gonna lie, a while back I had a game idea. Well, I mean, I still do have a game idea where I was going to create the entire Earth, like, to scale in a game for people to, like, walk around in and stuff. Except, I mean, yeah, the main character would be like Superman, pretty much. So, imagine like Spider-Man on the PS4, except the entire planet. That would be sick, right? No, it's barely a game. Their most fleshed out mechanic is you having to escape from prison. Nice. Yeah. Alright, I guess I think a lot less of Star Citizen now. You can sort of do that. There are some people who stream on Twitch who have done that with Mars. You might be interested in this. Alright, let's check it out. Just make sure I don't lose my tabs, please. Even though I'm supposed to be finishing this gosh dang course. Oh my gosh, man. Whatever. A little bit of a sidetrack is fine, I guess. Hey, you might be interested in this. I tried creating a game using real-world geographic data. Hey! We have the same name. Oh, Poggers, I'll keep it. I'll save it for later. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of doing that. But like, yeah, whatever. I'll check it out. If you find it interesting, he also has a follow-up video where he expands on it and makes improvements. Nice, nice. Also, remember what Cyberpunk AI was supposed to be like? I want that kind of AI in my games. The AI that Cyberpunk AI was supposed to be like. You get it, where people maybe just like a weekly routine for NPCs where this NPC drives to this place at this time, blah blah blah. Maybe there are spontaneous car crashes or something. That'd be sick, right? Except I haven't even learned the freaking basics of the engine, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Sometimes we want to
Stardew Valley AI? Yeah, I guess so. I haven't played Stardew Valley, but I guess so. From what I've heard, yeah, I guess it's pretty dynamic. So what, yeah, what do? They have like a work routine and like a whatever. You get it. Uh, that's probably yeah, probably something like that.
to detect the collision, but we don't want the reaction of the physics engine. The normal reaction of the physics engine is to...
They have schedules that vary day by day of week and season. Nice. But in Stardew Valley, they're only like, what? 25, 50, maybe? 50 characters, 50 AI? I don't know. Okay, I'm like super guessing because I've never played the game. So, not very many. Understandable. Alright, detect the collision. Don't want the interaction.
avoid to go inside the object, okay? So in this case, in our sphere, when we touch an object, the physics engine is going to make the sphere to bounce back, okay? But imagine that I don't want this reaction. I want to be able to go inside the other object, but I want to detect the collision. As you're going to see, this is going to be very useful. For example, when you want to collect items. For example, imagine that you have stars or you have coins, and you want to detect that you are touching them,
Wow.
but you don't want to bounce back. You want just to detect you are touching them in order to destroy the object when you touch it, for example, and to increase the number of coins you have, okay? So this is something very useful in many contexts. Another possibility is whenever you want to detect if in this case, your main character is inside a specific area or goes inside a specific area in order to make some enemies to appear, or for example, to change the music or to carry out a specific action. So for these objectives, we can use, instead of the collisions as we have seen them, we can use triggers, okay? Triggers are very useful in many games, okay? So whenever you want to detect that you are touching something, okay, and you don't want the physics engine reaction, you are
The trigger that you're touching something.
going to use triggers. So let's see an
Yeah,
example.
I
of this. For
shouldn't
example,
make.
imagine that we want to detect if we are,
I
for
don't know.
example,
Is
in
that
here,
rune?
okay? So if I want to
Probably.
detect that I'm inside a specific area, okay, one possibility, as we are going to see right now, is to use triggers. So in order to use these triggers, you need an object with a collider, okay? Any object with any collider, okay? So in this case, what I'm going to do is to create a cube, okay? So I'm going to reset the positions of the cube, okay? And I'm going to, that's it, to put in the y-axis 0.5, okay? So imagine that this is the element, okay, I'm going to use in order to define, okay, the area I can go inside, okay? So you can use any game object with a collider. In this case, we have a box collider. Okay, so the shape of the collider is the same of the shape of the cube. So I'm going to move it, for example, here, and I'm going to scale it, for example, 5 in the x-axis. Okay, I can put it, for example, in the corner.
What?
Okay, so imagine that I want to detect, okay, that I'm going inside this corner. What I'm going to do now is that I'm only interested, in this case, I'm only interested in the collider. So I don't want to make this tube, in this case, visible. So what I'm going to do is to remove, as you can see in this gear wheel, I'm going to remove the mesh filter, where we have the shape of the cube, and we are going to remove also the mesh renderer, okay? So the only thing I'm going to have, as you can see, okay, is just the collider, okay? So this is going to make the cube invisible when we run the scene, okay? But it has a collider, okay? So the sphere is going to be able to detect that we are colliding with this object. Another important thing I have to do right now is to select, of course, this cube, and to be sure, this is very important, that this trigger is going to be active, okay? If I don't do anything, the cube is going to collide against the cube, and we are going to have a reaction. We are not going to be able to go inside. We are going to be bouncing back, okay? But if I check it as is trigger, this cube, the things are going to be different. I'm going to be able to go inside the cube in this case, okay? And this is what I want to do. I don't want any kind of opposition, okay, in the movement of the sphere, because I'm entering in this specific area, okay? So what I have to do now is to change our script, because I cannot use onCollisionEnter in this case because it's a trigger. So I have to use onTriggerEnter, onTriggerStay, or onTriggerExit whenever I want to detect the different phases of the interaction with a trigger.
Huh. Right, so if I do... Let me make a new cube. And if I just do that... Okay, and I just do this. Whatever, 8, 8, 8, thank you. And then it has a collider. And I just delete these if I just... Okay. I actually don't know. So why does this... The render and the filter. What is this filter? So I'm guessing this is like a hitbox. And then this is just showing me what the hitbox looks like, right? The filter has the actual mesh data. It's not a hitbox. Okay. The hitbox is the box collider. Oh. Yeah, true. The filter has the actual mesh data. Okay, but I can remove this. And then I can... But like this stays. Correct? If I make this a sphere... Never mind. You need the filter and the render if you want to draw a mesh. Okay, but if I delete the filter... Wait, that literally wasn't happening before. Okay, I'm confused. Whatever. Alright, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. Got it. Okay. It wasn't working before for some reason. Can I, is there something here? Can I... Yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is. Come on. Come on. Oh, there it is. Nice. Invisible walls for the win, bro. Nice, poggers. Okay, and this still gets destroyed, yes. But I can just disable this. So, just in case I want to render it later, I can just disable it. But actually, yeah, I just want to delete that completely, or I want to disable it completely. Actually, I can just do, I don't know what I'm doing. Never mind. What did I do to this one? Oh. I could just do this. Easy. Okay. Now if I make a few planes. And what is the... width of this? Okay, it doesn't, you know what? It doesn't matter. Because I am just going to make some invisible planes. Is it this way? Nope. Is it this way? Yes. Also, for some reason, that's not how my plane... Okay, what is the difference between a quad and a plane? Like, seriously, what is the difference? Whatever. Also, does it matter? Like, um, if I hit plane from the other side, is it going to stop me? Like, no. What? No, it doesn't. Whoa. Okay. It doesn't stop me. What in the world? That's trippy, bro. That is trippy. So I technically don't even have to... I technically don't even have to make this... Or I don't actually have to make this invisible. I don't have to disable the mesh render. And let's check quad. Quad, let's check cube. 6 sides. Alright, yep. Plane. Where's plane? Okay, plane is here, quad is here. Square. It's a square with edges 1 unit long, divided into 2 triangles, and is oriented in the XY plane of the local coordinate space. You can use a quad as a display screen for an image or movie. You can also use quads to implement simple GUI and information displays, particles, sprites, and imposter images. Imposter images. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty sus. Okay, and I'm being absolutely cringe. I'm absolutely cringing out of my mind. So. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I really wanted to do this super badly. But it doesn't. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Never mind, that was not worth. The load time was not worth. Okay, so it's with edges 1 unit long. With edges 1 unit long. So that's just a square. Flat square with edges 10 units long, divided into 200 triangles, and is oriented in the XZ plane. It's texture so that the complete image appears once within the square. Okay, so a quad is just a smaller plane, basically. Except it's only divided into 2 triangles. I guess. Cool, I'm saving this. Thank you.
So in this case, what I have to do is to add.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I wanted to do this. And then rotate this to be, sorry, to be 90. Rotate this to be 180. And now you're trapped. No. That is not what I wanted to do. What is it? 245? No, it's 225. No, it's 270. I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you. Now this is 90. Augers. Cool. Now it won't fall off. Nice. So actually this one I don't need to do that. Haha, haha, ha. Nice. Invisible walls for the win. Haha, haha. I will eat your cubes. Yeah, that looks a little unnatural, so I'm gonna stop that. Alright, let's continue.
Another method called onTrigger enter. Okay, onTrigger enter. So in this way, we can detect exactly when I'm touching for the very first time an object with collider and with the trigger is trigger option active, okay? So again, I can use tags, okay? So I can do what we have done in a previous video. We can use tags in order to classify the different triggers. And we can check with other GameObject.tag. We can know exactly, okay, what is the object I'm colliding with, which is the object, which is the tag of the object I'm colliding with, okay? In this case, we have only one trigger, so I'm just going to print, for example, I'm entering the area, okay? Or I'm inside the area, okay? So this is the only thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to save the script, okay? So we go back to Unity and let's try to see what happens. Let's try to see if we go here, okay? Let's try to see if...
So what is it? What do I need to know? On trigger enter? On trigger enter, and that automatically does everything for me. Beautiful. And then I can do whatever audio source dot play dot play. Except what does this do? So here's the thing. Audio source. So this makes an audio source. But if I have more than one audio source in it on the same object, on the same game object, then what do I do? Because like, yeah, how do I differentiate them? Because this is one script, right? I don't know. I guess I'll find out later. If I do this, but I actually, whoops. You can use a single source to play any number of clips. Oh. Dang, really? So if I add huh. Okay, so if I add another sound. Sound effects. I don't know. Oh boy. That does not look fun. So if I drag this. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. And I drag this over here. Okay, it doesn't work. That didn't work. You have to do encode. Ah! Alright, fair enough. Okay, let me just do this then. Oh, actually tag. We make a new tag called wall. And then tag this as wall. And then It doesn't. Okay, I still don't know how to do it, but it doesn't matter. If collision. No, sorry. If I haven't even finished the gosh dang video.
We detect that we are touching the trigger. Okay, I'm going to check. Let's try to start. So I'm going to use this view.
This it? So I'm guessing if this is. Oh, collider. If other dot game object dot tag equals wall, maybe that works. I don't know, audio source dot play. Then this is just gonna do the same thing. Your walls aren't marked as triggers. Oh, fudge, you're right. You're right. Crap. Why is it not collision handler, not the trigger handler? It's not letting me click it. Ah, because collide. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Why? Okay, here's my real question. But like, okay, this should be working, right? Like, it's not letting me click it. Like the is trigger is grayed out. I can't even click it. Okay, I should be wrapping this stream up. Gosh dang, bro. And you know what? Oh no, that I'd have to do something different. Mark it as convex. Okay, I don't know why I would need to do that, but sure, I'll do it. Like, look, if I mark this as convex, it still works, but it's a little weird. You need to do it so you can use a mesh collider as a trigger. Okay, basically you're saying okay, hold I mean it should work now, right? Yes. Yes, it does work. Alright, good enough. I'm satisfied.
So in the game view, I'm going to have a very similar view of the camera. So I'm going to show the console and let's try to see what happens. So, of course, we can detect the collisions, okay, as we did. And now we are going to try to go inside the area. You see? So I'm inside the area, okay? So we have detected with no opposition that we are inside the area. So every time we leave and go inside, we are going to have the same message, okay?
Nice.
So triggers are going to be very useful in many applications.
If you have a non-convex mesh collider, you can't use it as a trigger. Alright, got it. But isn't it... Okay, I'm confused as to what the meaning of convex is in this situation. Because in calculus, I know that in calculus or algebra or whatever, right? It's Convex is like this, right? It's like, you know, you get what I mean. So I don't really know what it means. Convex means that if you draw a straight line from any point on the surface to any other point, it won't intersect the collider at any other points. It's the same meaning. If you draw a straight line from any point on the surface to any other point, that's also the convex you just okay. Draw a straight line from any point on the surface to any other point. What? It won't. I guess so? Sure. Yeah. Alright. I guess. Yeah, I can believe that. It won't intersect the collider. Okay, which means it won't be a collider anymore. I guess, right? Convex sets. What? Okay. But these are like objects. Or these are shapes, not like not graphs, not what the heck am I trying to say? Not graphs. You know what I'm trying to say. On the left, there's no line you can draw from an edge to another edge that will not exit the shape. On the right, you can. Alright. No, thank you. I would not like to do that. Alright, but here's the thing I'm confused about. If I click on this plane and I make it convex, then it still does physics. Like, I'm confused about this. Like, what is going on here? Wait, can I change? I can. What? Okay. Convex doesn't affect whether or not it participates in physics. Oh. Alright then. Fair enough, thank you. Thank you for explaining.
Applications. Whenever you want to detect you are in a specific area, for example, or whenever
The setting that affects... okay. The setting that affects whether or not it participates in physics is the trigger setting. Got it.
you want to collect items. The only thing you have to do is to have an object with a collider, okay? And in this collider you need, as we have done in this cube, okay, you need to specify that it is triggered. But you can use a cube, you can use a sphere, you can use any object with a collider.
Okay, but here's the thing. If it's convex collider, but wouldn't a plane always be convex? Like always? because it doesn't... I'm confused. No, plane is always non-convex. I'm super confused now. So how can you make a plane convex? Like, how do you make a plane convex? If you, if you don't bend it, how do you make it? How do you make it convex? Because now I'm super confused. Like, a plane is 2D, right? Just like the picture you showed me. It depends on how you define it. You can make it behave as if it's convex for the purposes of game development. Wait, it turns into a rectangle. So you're telling me a rectangle is, or sorry, a rectangular prism is convex? Or is this just a visualization for my tiny human brain? Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright, fair enough. The visualization you see represents what the physics engine uses. Alright, so these planes basically turn into rectangular prisms. If I do this, okay. What in the world? Okay, so the plane is just representing the middle of the rectangular prism. It's unrelated to the rendering. Got it. Also, ooh, I love that. You're only changing the properties of the collider, not the mesh or the renderer. Got it. Got it. Got it. So basically, you're telling me it's just a really sucky way to make a rectangular prism. It's just a really sucky way to make a rectangular prism collider. Because it, like, the way you would make a rectangular prism normally is you make a cube and then you extrude it, right? And that makes a rectangular prism. Yeah, you wouldn't actually want to do this. You'd want to use a box collider. Got it. So why is this convex option even here? Like, okay, never mind. Because you can make a mesh collider from any mesh. You can make a mesh collider from any mesh. You can make a mesh collider from any mesh. Make your own mesh for something like a car body and use that. And in that case, because the physics calculations are much cheaper for convex shapes, you can make a mesh collider from any mesh. Oh, okay, so you're saying you just wouldn't do it for planes. Except okay. Alright. I think I kind of get what you're saying. Sort of. It's fine. I'll figure it out later. Alright, let's just finish this.
In our script, it will be very useful to be able to get access to the object's components. We are going to see how.
He only says okay once here.
One of the most
Nice.
interesting features of scripts is their ability to access any of the object's components. Consult,
Also, his mic quality here just took a freaking nose dive. Not a good idea to use a plane mesh and then mark it as convex. Oh yeah, I only meant for the case of the plane when I said you wouldn't want to do that.
and
Got
all
it.
modify their properties. That is, we can access to audio source, mesh filter, rigid body, even other scripts, etc. So that we can finally access objects geometry, the mesh, the collection of triangles, shaders, and change its parameters, for example, textures, colors, etc. We can do it using GameObject.getComponent. Okay, this is the syntax you have to use whenever you want to get access to a specific component of the game object. Here we have an example. For example, in front of a collision,
There's some weird crap going on here. On this find tool. Okay, we can access in our scripts. It will be very useful to get access to the object's components. We're gonna see how. Access, okay, blah, 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 blah. Change parameters. We can do it by using GameObject.getComponent. This is the syntax you have to use whenever you want to get access to a specific component. Okay. Here is the example. GameObject.getComponent. Mesh filter.
other
Okay.
is going to give us in this sentence with which object we are colliding with. Once we have the game object we are colliding with, using getComponent, we can get access, for example, to the mesh. And maybe we can, once we have the access to the mesh, we can deform the mesh as a reaction of in front of the collision. Here another example. The component, we can
Other.getComponent mesh filter dot mesh. Okay, and then that's mesh M. They're creating a variable. Or no. They're creating an object. Wait. Or are they? The object already exists. They're naming an object? Whatever. Okay. They're declaring a new variable named M that will point to an object that already exists. Got it.
get access, for example, to the mesh. And maybe we can, once we have the access to the mesh, we can deform the mesh as a reaction of in front of the collision. Here another example. Imagine that you want to change the color of an object you are colliding with. So again, with onCollisionEnter, we can detect the object we are colliding with, and we can get access to the mesh renderer where we have the material, where we have the color, and then, for example, to increase, as you can see in this example, the intensity of the color in 20%. So whenever you need to get access to a specific component of an object, remember, you can do it with the method getComponent.
Thanks. Oh, I see. There's an OK up here. All right. Let me just check. Okay, this is much longer. I still don't know what that is. Okay, the exercise is right here. Okay, I will probably end the stream now. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And thank you for spending your most valuable resource, the time in your life, on watching my stream. And thank you guys for chatting. And cool. And thank you for watching, which I just said. But yeah, oh, and thank you for all your help, because I want to get into this. I want to get super into this. Like I want to make games and mods for I mean, for a living or for fun. I guess either one, it doesn't matter. But thank you. And have a good one.